Hi everyone, I am Vaibhav Agrawal. I am the founder and CIO of Tezi Mandi. We started Tezi Mandi with the idea that normal retail investors in the stock market do not have access to good managed portfolios. In most cases, people listen to their friends, they listen to their family, or they look at some advice on some WhatsApp or Telegram groups, and they tend to invest in stocks. And that's actually a really dangerous strategy, because there are 4 aspects to making money in the stock market. The first is what to buy, second is when to buy, third is why to buy, and fourth is when to sell. Now, typically, when you look at all these groups and you speak to your friends and family, you typically focus only on the first part of it and you leave out the remaining 3. It's very important to realize that spending time in the market is a lot more important than trying to time the market, especially if you're trying to create some serious long-term wealth through investing. That is because studies across the world have shown that if you miss the 5 to 10 best days of that country's stock market, your returns drop significantly. Nifty over the last 30 years has compounded at a CAGR of about 12%, which gives you a return of about 30x. Now, if you missed the 30 best days of the Nifty because you were trying to time it, your returns would drop from 30x to 3x. So that's why it's very important to realize that it's very difficult to predict what those days are going to be. And now let's assume for a second that you have an uncanny sense of trying to time the market. You have to make 2 very important decisions. One is that you have to exit the stock before it starts falling, and you have to re-enter it before it starts rising up again. So that's why a lot of the big money in the stock market has been made by people who've remained invested in it for long periods of time. And that's why I would urge you that if you are already in the market, please remain invested. Don't exit your investment. And if you're sitting on the fence speculating when is the best time to enter, I would urge you to do it right now.
Hi, I'm Upahar Sood. I'm the Chief Product Officer at Tezi Mandi. So actually, the idea behind Tezi Mandi came to me sometime around when I moved back from the US. It had been around 1 or 2 years. So in the US, actually, I was a very active participant in the stock market. I had been investing in a lot of passive investing as well as active stocks. And I had also looked at a lot of the platforms over there, like Robinhood, like a lot of the passive investing options that are available, like Betterment. I actually moved from the perspective that I actually wanted to start something of my own. So at that point, I reached out to a lot of my friends. And the general advice that I got was there are a few websites which I could visit, or I could watch a few videos on YouTube and get a basic understanding of the market. However, most of this stuff was in bits and pieces. At the same time, in the last 2 or 3 years, what I've realized is a lot of people are actually getting into the market. They're opening Demat accounts. They have a lot of interest in participating in the stock market. But at the same time, along with this excitement, there's also a lack of knowledge. They don't really know what they need to do, how to get started. So that's where I felt there was a general gap in the market where you rather than just being able to set up a stock investing account, there was something in terms of advisory as well that most people would need to truly get started in the in investing, because it's not just about buying 1 or 2 stocks. It's also about building a strong portfolio that would actually last over a longer term. And that's where in one of the conversations that I had with one of my friends related to investing, and this friend was my friend Weber from high school. We actually kind of connected on this specific idea where it was quite easy to get started with an account or open an account with a stockbroker. But what to buy, how to build a portfolio, that's where we were really lacking. Especially the ability to deliver this had become kind of very easy at this point, because smartphones had become ubiquitous with the rise of networks like Jio, and also the fact that data was getting very inexpensive. the timing was really right for building a product like this, which would, on top of just the execution side, also offer advisory to people.